Hey everyone, it's Miss Laura, and thank you so much for joining me again in my home studio. Today we are going to be doing another fun art project. The last couple of weeks we have been making art together almost every single week, which has been fantastic. And so last time we created a blanket fort, and then before that we created art out of kind of fun everyday house objects and had to really use our creativity. And then before then we created line contours together. So today we are going to take that same theme of using items in your house that you probably already have to create works of art. But also, it is a beautiful sunshine-filled Tulsa day, so I am going to utilize the sun as part of our art project. The sun is probably going to be our strongest art material that we use. And I know you're thinking, what does she mean by that? Well, I will tell you in just a moment, but first I'm going to show you the other supplies that we will need today. Alright friends, so what we need to do this project first is a flat object. I'm using a cooking tray, something you put your cookies on, and the reason why we need a flat object is because we are going to be building on top of it and then taking it and moving our entire work of art. So get something sturdy or get something really flat, something that's easy to carry. That's object number one. Number two, we are going to need a piece of construction paper. Make sure that it's colored. I know you all have a piece of construction paper because Miss Jeanette and I packaged some up for you this past week and sent it to you on Sunday or this past weekend for Easter, so you should all have at least one sheet of construction paper. The next art supply you get to choose. So go around your house and pick up little items that will fit on top of your construction paper. So little items like maybe pencils, little toys, maybe some leaves outside, ladies maybe some jewelry, or boys maybe some jewelry or a watch, and that part will be up to you. I have with me some dried out flowers. I like to dry out some roses, and I cut off the leaves, if you can see them, and some pencils. Now I'm not going crazy with this, just I'm using only 3 objects, the dried out leaves, pencils, and a dried out flower. But you can use whatever you want. Again, anything that's small enough to fit on your piece of paper. Another object you are going to need, but it's not necessary if you don't have it, so don't freak out, is plastic wrap. Now, plastic wrap is going to be used to secure our project. We're going to put this on last, on top of our piece of paper, our piece of construction paper. So just make sure you have enough on the roll to cover your piece of construction paper. And then lastly, we need some rocks. Rocks are heavy objects. So I live in a place where I surprisingly couldn't find a lot of rocks in my backyard. So I have these rose rocks just laying around the house, and I'm going to use it as a weight. We need something to act as a weight, okay? Now that you know all of the supplies we need to use to make our art project, I am going to finally tell you what we are making. Sun prints. We are going to be using the sun to bleach our piece of paper, except in the areas where you place your objects on top. Are you guys ready? I am going to walk you through on how I am going to place my items on this piece of paper, and then after I walk you through that, we are going to go outside together and leave our objects in the sun for about 3 hours. All right, let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my sheet of construction paper. You should have received a couple of these in your Easter basket this past weekend from Miss Jeanette. So use one piece of your construction paper and lay it down in a pan. This will just help your piece be more secure. If you don't have a pan, if you have a piece of plexiglass or even a really large piece of cardboard, just something to put your piece of paper on so when we're ready we can pick it up and move it. And then I am going to take random objects that I found throughout the day. So I have this wonderful dried out flower. I'm gonna place this right here on top of my paper. And then I'm gonna place some dried out leaves around my paper. Maybe one right here. And then I have 2 pencils. I know you all have pencils because we sent you some the other week. I think I might put them here. And then if you have any other objects you'd like to use, this is the time to place it on your paper. Maybe move your objects around. Really try to really try to place your objects where you want them to be. Then we're going to use our plastic wrap. And I have a sheet already torn. And we're carefully going to place it on top of our objects. Make sure it's flat, make sure your pieces aren't moving around too much. And what this is going to do is keep our objects in place. When we put this outside, the wind could knock our objects off our paper. So we need to make sure that there's something on top of it holding our objects in place. And to make sure that something is holding our plastic wrap in place, I'm going to add some big rocks. Now these are rose rocks. They're native to Oklahoma, and they are actually our state rock because it looks like a rose. That's why it's called a rose rock. And I dug these up a while back in Oklahoma. And I'm going to place them on the edges just to weight it down. And then when we are all ready, we are going to very carefully lift up our tray and move it outside. Okay, so I'm gonna open up the door before I go grab my tray of objects. Oh, look at that beautiful sun. Let's go grab the tray. All right, I'm gonna very carefully move our objects and place it somewhere in my front yard in the sun and leave it out there untouched. Okay, you cannot touch it. Make sure the sun's not moving so that there's shadows on your tray. Find a place where it's full sun, maybe the driveway, maybe on your porch. Find a spot, maybe in the grass, and carefully leave your tray out there for 3 hours. All right, I'm gonna go find a spot for mine. Okay, I think I found the perfect spot for my tray. I have these steps in my front yard, and you can see that this is full sun shining down on my tray. Look at those beautiful shadows. All right, so now we gotta figure out something to do for 3 hours while we wait for the sun to bleach the paper. So now I have to wait 3 hours. And I know that's a long time to wait, so one of the things that I'm going to do as I sit here and wait for the hours to pass is check out a Masterwork online video. If you guys haven't checked out our Facebook yet, you should do that. Our page is called Masterwork Academy for Faith and Fine Arts. If your parents have a Facebook, make sure that they log on and check out our videos so that you can see everybody else's beautiful lesson plans. You just go to facebook.com/masterworkacademy, and then we can go through the page and look at some really fun lesson plan videos. Oh, here's one. Let's see. One was just uploaded today by Miss Jessica, our ballet teacher. And she is going to teach us how to do ballet. So I think for the next 3 hours, I'm gonna go through these videos and, I don't know, try to learn some ballet, try to sing a new song, get moving with Kip, or be encouraged by a sweet message from our director, Miss Jeanette. All right, well, 3 hours are finally up. It didn't seem very long because I was just here watching Masterwork videos and learning all of these new wonderful arts from our art teachers. But it has been 3 hours and I am really excited to see how the sun has bleached our paper. So very carefully, I'm gonna go outside and pick up my tin. Just a little caution, if it's a really hot day, remember that our pan has been sitting in the hot sun for 3 hours, so it may burn your fingers. So if you have an oven mitt or a rag or a towel, you might want to use that to pick up our pan. So let's go outside and see what happened to our construction paper. Okay, so I just grabbed the tray from outside, and this has been probably an experimental process. One of the things I noticed is that even though we had the weights in place and the plastic wrap, some of my leaves got blown away from the really strong Oklahoma wind. So keep that in mind when you're doing your project. One of the thoughts I had is, well, maybe we could use masking tape or any type of tape to seal the edges so your objects won't fly through. Okay, so let's start revealing what is underneath the plastic wrap. So I'm removing my weights. Now I'm removing the plastic wrap. And I'm just gonna set the plastic wrap aside because I think I wanna try this again and I don't wanna be wasteful and grab another sheet. I'm going to remove this leaf. Okay, it looks like it didn't work very well because the leaf isn't flat. Do you see how it's kind of raised everywhere? So that didn't work out very well. But it also looks like where we put the rose rock, that worked kind of well. Do you see the different colors of green? Okay, I'm gonna remove flower next. Okay, it's a little hard to see, but there's some blotchy areas, and you can tell here's the stem right here. And then lastly, oh, would you look at that? The wind blew in some pollen. And lastly, I am going to remove the pencils. Oh, well, isn't that lovely? Look at those green lines. And this is my sun print paper. So remember, when we first started, our paper was a vibrant color of green. And then we placed objects on top of it and placed it out in the sun for 3 hours. And we bleached the areas where an object was not laying on top of the paper. Look at those different colors of green. This is the bleached area. This is where the sun bleached the paper. And this is the non-bleached area where we put our object. Remember, this was a pencil, these are rose rocks and leaves, and this is my flower. After doing this for the first time, I learned that flatter, heavier objects work best to get really dark lines on your paper. I also learned to have heavier weights or to use something to seal the edges better so that my lighter objects don't blow away in the wind. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out, and I think I'm gonna try it again. Also, we still have the back of this paper to use, so if you're unhappy with how your first side came out, you can definitely try again on the back. Alright guys, well thank you so much for making sun prints with me. I can't wait to hear how your sun prints turn out at home, and I will see you soon with another